A mysterious lady came from nowhere and refused to eat cooked food, and within days, the village of Ozara began to change in terrifying ways. The day the stranger arrived in Ozara, the harmattan wind had not yet settled, and the red dust of the long road rose like smoke behind her bare feet. She came alone, clothed in a dull brown wrapper that looked older than the road itself, her hair woven into thick coils that seemed to move with a life of their own. No one saw her carry a bag, a pot, or even a calabash of water, yet her steps were steady and unhurried, as though the path itself knew her. Children playing near the village square fell silent when they saw her, their laughter swallowed by unease, because her eyes were deep and quiet, holding secrets that made even elders uncomfortable. When she reached the village square, the elders questioned her beneath the ancient Iroko tree. She bowed respectfully but gave no name, only saying she came from a place where the earth still remembers its first breath. Murmurs spread like fire through dry grass. Still, Ozara was a village that feared unseen forces more than strangers, so they allowed her to stay in an abandoned hut at the edge of the village. That night, women brought her steaming pounded yam and thick egusi soup, but she gently refused. Instead, she gathered fresh fruits, leaves, and roots from the nearby bush and ate them raw under the moonlight, while hidden eyes watched her in fearful silence. By morning, the village buzzed with restless talk. Never had Ozara seen a grown woman who rejected cooked food, salt, and palm oil. The men laughed nervously, calling it traveler's foolishness, but the women whispered darker things as they fetched water from the stream. They said only spirits fed without fire, only forest beings chewed leaves and roots raw. Yet the stranger moved calmly among them, greeting everyone politely, helping the elderly, and lifting heavy loads with surprising ease. At midday, she was seen slicing raw yam with a sharp stone, drinking clear water from fresh coconuts. A bold hunter mocked her, daring her to eat roasted antelope meat dripping with oil. She smiled faintly and turned away. That very night, the hunter was struck by a fierce fever, shaking violently until dawn. No one accused her openly, but fear settled deep in Ozara, and every eye followed her steps with growing suspicion. Soon, the forest itself began to change. Hunters returned empty-handed, claiming animals vanished whenever the strange woman passed. Farmers noticed their crops remained untouched by pests, while nearby farms suffered destruction. Some villagers swore they saw her standing barefoot among thorns before sunrise, speaking softly to ancient trees, her skin uncut, her voice calm. When asked, she neither confirmed nor denied these stories. One evening, after heavy rain, a child slipped into the flooded river and was swept away by the violent current. Panic tore through the village as screams filled the air. Before anyone could act, the stranger ran toward the river, her feet barely touching the ground. She plunged into the raging water and emerged moments later holding the child, unharmed and breathing. The village fell into stunned silence, and from that day onward, laughter at her strange habits disappeared. Disturbed by events beyond their understanding, the elders gathered secretly beneath the ancient baobab tree. They spoke of forgotten covenants, of beings bound by laws older than fire, and of disasters that followed broken balances. Some demanded she be driven away before greater calamity struck, while others feared that angering her would invite destruction upon Ozara. The night air grew heavy with incense and dread. Unseen by them at first, the stranger stood nearby listening. When she stepped forward, silence fell instantly. She warned them not to fear what they did not understand, saying fire was both a gift and a chain, and that some lives were sworn to walk without it. Her words sounded less like explanation and more like ancient truth, leaving the elders unsettled and uneasy. Still suspicious, the villagers devised a cruel test. During a great festival, they hid all fruits, leaves, and raw roots, leaving only cooked food in the open. Drums beat loudly as people danced, pretending not to watch her. Hunger showed faintly on her face, yet she never complained. When night fell, she quietly disappeared into the forest. At dawn, she returned carrying a basket of wild herbs unknown to Ozara, her skin glowing softly in the early light. She ate calmly as the villagers stared in disbelief. That same day, all the stored cooked food mysteriously spoiled, crawling with insects, while her herbs remained fresh. Fear slowly turned into reverence, and villagers began leaving raw offerings near her hut in silence. The attack at moonrise. Not everyone bowed to fear. A group of young warriors, drunk on pride and palm wine, stormed her hut under the full moon, accusing her of witchcraft. She stood quietly, asking them to leave. When they raised their weapons, the earth itself seemed to awaken. Roots burst from the ground, wrapping around their legs, disarming them without bloodshed. A violent wind swept through Ozara, extinguishing every fire in the village. The warriors fled in terror, and by morning their hair had turned white. From that night on, no one dared threaten her again. The truth began to unfold. At last, the stranger chose to speak to one person, a blind old woman known for wisdom. Sitting beside her hut, she revealed her past, speaking of a lineage sworn to protect balance between earth and flame. Her kind was forbidden from eating cooked food, for fire weakened their bond with the living land. The old woman wept, understanding the burden the stranger carried. She carefully spread the truth, warning the village that this was not a curse but a sacred duty. Slowly, fear softened into respect, though mystery still clung to the stranger like shadow. The coming calamity. One season later, disaster struck. The river dried, crops withered, and animals fled the forest. The elders realized a great imbalance threatened Ozara. In desperation, they begged the stranger for help. She listened quietly, then nodded, knowing this moment had long been foretold. She fasted for 7 days, eating only bitter leaves and roots. On the 7th night, she walked deep into the forest as thunder shook the sky. Strange light rose among the trees, and the ground trembled as if unseen forces battled through the night. Sacrifice without fire. At dawn, she returned wounded but alive, carrying an ancient blackened stone untouched by flame. She placed it in the village square and collapsed. That same day, rain returned, gentle at first, then heavy, reviving the land and filling the river once more. As she healed, she ate less and less, her body growing lighter, less solid. The villagers realized with aching hearts that her task was nearing its end. Children brought her fruits in tears, and elders bowed low, understanding too late the depth of her sacrifice. The speechless village. On the final morning, her hut stood empty. In its place grew a young tree bearing fruits and leaves together, raw and full of life. No footprints led away. The village gathered in silence, unable to speak, knowing she had become part of the land she protected. From that day, Ozara honored raw food during sacred times, remembering the woman who walked without fire. Her story became a folktale whispered to children, a tale of balance, sacrifice, and a stranger whose strange diet saved the village and left everyone forever speechless.